Hello and welcome to the Wednesday, February 5th, 2020 edition of Tesla Daily, unofficial Tesla podcast. My name is Rob Maurer. Today we are talking about Elon's tweet last night about a possible Gigafactory in Texas. And then of course we'll touch briefly on the stock here at the beginning, because as I'm recording, which is a little bit before market close, we are sitting down 20%. So starting off with the stock, we do have some news here from Gigafactory Shanghai and then also an analyst update. But I think this is just a continuation of the sell-off that we saw at the end of the day yesterday. I think we're continuing to be in that zone where we're trying to find a floor and we're hitting these stop loss orders, and people are now feeling the fear of it being overpriced versus the excitement of the rally. We can't be too surprised by the volatility, especially given the run-up that we've had. Yes, down 20% in a single day is a lot, but before the sell-off at the end of the day yesterday, we were also up 20%. So just as a reminder for some context, at these current prices, even with this drop, we're still up 12% for the week, which is still a pretty incredible week by itself. So as I've been saying, who knows where it goes from here? Anybody's best guess. 1,000 wouldn't surprise me, 500 wouldn't surprise me. I think we just need to find that floor, and then once Tesla does that and people get comfortable that that is a level that can be maintained, then that's when we can start to rise again. But with the volatility, I think anybody's best guess again on what happens. Anyway, just to touch quickly on the news that we have CNBC reporting this morning that Tesla would be delaying deliveries from Gigafactory Shanghai and production from Gigafactory Shanghai due to coronavirus. They were reporting on a post by Tesla VP Tal Lin on Weibo saying that those deliveries would be delayed, but they didn't say until when. They just said that the deliveries originally scheduled for early February would be delayed. However, later in the day, Reuters actually came out with a little bit more information on this, letting us know that the delay was actually only until February 10th. So shocker, turns out this actually isn't news at all, because last week on the earnings call, Zach Kirkhorn, the CFO, said that they expected a 1 week to 1.5 week shutdown due to the virus. That lines up with this timeline, so nothing new there. The other news that we have is from Canaccord Genuity analyst update. They have held their price target at $750, but they have changed their rating on the stock from buy to hold. So this is similar to what we saw from New Street's Pierre Ferragu yesterday, who kept his $800 price target, but downgraded from buy to neutral. Both of these things probably impacted the share price today, probably more so the Shanghai stuff, but I think that we are just trying to find that floor. I think that's the biggest factor. Moving into more exciting news, coming from Elon on Twitter yesterday, tweeting Gigafactory Texas ? With a poll saying yes or no, and about 80% of respondents have said yes to that poll. And while this might seem like just an off-the-cuff tweet by Elon, I would bet that there's a lot more to it than that, and it should definitely be taken as a serious suggestion. This does give us some new context and some new light onto Trump's comments on Elon Musk a couple weeks ago, where he said, quote, go back a year and they were talking about the end of the company, and now all of a sudden they're talking about these great things. He's going to be building a very big plant in the United States. He has to because we help him, so he has to help us, end quote. At the time, I kind of brushed that comment aside, and I'm still not sure that it's actually relevant to this Gigafactory Texas discussion, but it does make it interesting nonetheless. The other interesting thing here is that Elon did update his location on Twitter to Austin, Texas. So again, I think this is a bit further along than just merely being a suggestive idea. I think Texas and Austin both make a lot of sense. We've heard Elon talk a lot recently about how one of their biggest constraints is engineering, and Austin is very well regarded in the engineering field. The University of Texas is obviously based in Austin. US News ranks them number 11 in engineering. And finance site WalletHub just did a pretty extensive study on engineering locations, and they ranked Austin number 3 in highest quality engineering universities, and also number 3 for the best cities for STEM jobs. STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So from an engineering perspective, Austin seems like a really good choice for Tesla. In addition to the engineering talent in Texas, Texas is also a huge automotive market. It's actually the second largest by state to California, with at least as of 2017, 8 million vehicles sold annually, second to California at 15 million. That represents a lot of opportunity for Tesla because Tesla can't actually legally sell their vehicles in the state of Texas right now, and they've even received pushback on servicing their vehicles. So I'm sure any sort of Gigafactory deal with Texas would be contingent upon that legislation changing and allowing Tesla direct sales in the state. Texas is also the highest selling pickup truck state in the US with more than 400,000 units sold per year. So looking down the road a little bit in terms of Cybertruck production someday, there would be a lot of benefit to having Cybertruck be made in Texas. It would be good for the marketability, and it would be good because a lot of those vehicles would be sold into Texas, which would be beneficial from a logistical and shipping perspective. With Texas being the second largest automotive market, I think you get that logistical benefit across the lineup for automotive, but then I think you can even take that another step further and apply it specifically into the battery storage lineup as well, because solar and storage should be big plays in Texas too. Having that production as close as possible to the end consumer does save some money. That being said, there would be some downside to positioning it in Texas versus somewhere like the East Coast in terms of the logistics there. Obviously, it would be much closer to Tesla's current production in California than an East Coast facility would be, but there is still a pretty sizable distance between Fremont and Austin. It's about 1,700 miles by highway, which is actually further than the distance from Miami to Montreal. So certainly still far enough to capture some of those logistical benefits, and in the future years, as Tesla continues to expand their footprint, maybe a third US Gigafactory could go closer to the East Coast. The other thing that I would point out about Texas is that SpaceX actually already has a pretty significant presence in the state. They have offices, a development facility, and a launch facility. So despite Tesla having those regulatory challenges from the entrenched dealership networks in the state, Elon at least does have some experience working in Texas. Overall, I think a lot of compelling reasons for a Gigafactory Texas. You've got a big market, you've got local engineering talent, you also have probably some regulatory incentive to build in the state, and then you have experience working there already. We'll have to wait and see how this develops, but I think the odds are high that this is Elon letting people know where the next US Gigafactory is going to be. So let me know what you think in the comments about Texas as a choice or where you think the next Gigafactory should be. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Tesla Podcast. And I'll see you tomorrow for hopefully an interview episode for the February 6th episode of Tesla Daily. Thank you.